what I want to ask you first. How are you feeling right now?
I'm actually very excited. So I'm very often talking in front of people. So public speaking is part of actually my job. But this is my first podcast, and I'm pretty excited, but I'm also very much looking forward. And thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome. I'm also feeling very excited, a little bit nervous, and I think afraid.
You didn't have
But
to.
I don't have to. Yeah, I think it's all connected in to self-confidence and believing in yourself. And well, maybe it is part of your superpowers, which actually I want to touch base in this podcast. But maybe first you can tell us a little bit about what shaped you, like who you are right now, and how what things shaped you.
Wow, that's like, who are you right now? I think that's one of the big questions, right? So, yeah, talking in numbers, my name is Marlen Wehner. I am from Germany. I am 35 years old. I've been a JCI member for 10 years right now, and I have the honor of serving as a vice president this year, assigned to the Nordics. This is why I have the honor also to be in Lithuania for a second time. And yeah, who am I right now? So that's truly an interesting question. Also touching the point of superpowers is really interesting for me, because I think that's something that every adult is going to through in this maturity process, right? So you wonder, what am I actually good at? It's nothing that you've been taught in school. It's nothing that people would tell you, oh, you're so good at that. But I think very often in our culture, we are being pointed to things we cannot do. So the kryptonite, if you want it like that. And it has been a mindset shift very much to discover the superpowers and to become the superhero that you can be. And I think also in order to become that hero, you have to go through this hero story, right? So you have to fight your dragons, you have to find the treasures you are hunting for, you have to find maybe the wizards who will help you as a mentor, and you have to go your own path. And I think that is truly what shaped me, especially, and this is why I like the dragon picture. I think the things that shape you the most are the dragons in your life. So the battles that you have to fight, the times where you are just like rock bottom and you don't know how to proceed, the things where you are in situations where you don't know what to do, that seem a bit bigger than you can handle it at the moment. The mistakes that you make, this is what truly shapes you. And this is also when personality shows, right? So when we're successful, this is not when our personality is really being shaped, I think, or that's my opinion. But it is being shaped in the moments where you learn. And I think you learn the most from your mistakes and not from the successes.
Exactly. So going to the battle, it's going from your comfort zone.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
Not all of us want to do that. And how do you do it? Like you.
Yeah, I do it. I've created something for that. So I started my business, so being self-employed as a leadership trainer, team coach, and positive leadership trainer in 2020. So that was maybe not the best timing to start a business that is very much personally and where I wanted to go to the companies. And so I really had to reinvent myself in that sense. And I did a lot of things that scared me at that time. And I didn't feel comfortable with being scared all the time and being like, oh my God, I have so many first times. I noticed that I'm doing so many things for the first time. And it's part of my personality that I really like games. And then I really like to have fun and happiness around me. That's also what I try to create. So I invented a game in 2020. And the game is Famous First Times. It's called Famous First Times. And I started to collect famous first times. So whenever I did something for the first time, I just changed that mindset from, oh my God, it scares me so much, to, hey, it's so cool, I'm having another first time. And I felt like in a computer game a bit. And I collected those moments. And I also collected this feeling. I got it to, like, it became part of my DNA to get the feeling, oh, no, I'm a bit shaky. Oh, this is something I'm doing for the first time. how cool. So going beyond that point where your heart begins to beat a bit faster, and being excited about the growth that is upon to happen. So that is the famous first time game. And yeah, that's how I learned to go out of my comfort zone and actually celebrate it instead of being anxious.
Okay. And well, you mentioned that you were feeling scared, or you're feeling scared when you go to that battle, let's say. And what are your fears then?
I would say I'm a person that demands a lot of herself. So one of my core values is growth. And in order to grow, you always have to accept, okay, I'm not full size yet, I'm not in full flourishing yet where I can be. And that means also there's always something to learn, and that's the good news. And my fear, I think, is and it was and it still is, to be honest, it's the fear of making mistakes, as we all do. It's the fear of maybe disappointing people, maybe disappointing yourself.
Being perfect.
Or yes, it's perfectionism, and I think it's a female thing very often, but it's also something that thrives me, right? So because it keeps me on track, it motivates me, and it also helps me to discover and celebrate those little successes when I overcame it. And also being scared sometimes means when you're in a leadership position, right? So this is what is happening in JCI. This is what's happening in my business. You are quite often alone, or you feel sometimes alone, because you are also the one who's doing things for the first time. So there's sometimes no steps you can follow. And it somehow became part of my journey that I was the first person to do things in a certain way. Sometimes I was not the first vice president, but I'm a vice president who's doing the things as a Marlen does things, right? Yes. So when I'm doing it for the first time, it's also the freedom of shaping things. And it's two-sided metal. Sometimes the fear is part of the success, because there's a proverb, I'm not sure if it's known well, but all you want is on the other side of fear. So you have to go through it, and everything you desire and is worth to have also needs to be a bit scared.
Exactly. Fear is good. It's necessary.
Yeah.
And coming back to your role in life, in professional life, you're a positive leadership trainer and business coach, and you're trying to teach individuals or teams how to find their superpowers.
True.
Am I correct? Did you find yours?
Well, I'm about to. So sometimes it's the same with the fear and the success. Sometimes the opposites, they just belong together, right? So it's yin and yang. Yeah. So sometimes your superpower is something that brings you into situations where you don't want to be, right? When you're a kind person, you're sometimes in a situation where you're just being tired, exhausted because you helped a lot of people. Yes. But on the other hand, you have incredible patience, and you be the one who's the go-to person to listen to, and you shape the lives of others. So that's for kindness. And for me, I think I discovered that humor is my superpower and happiness in a sense. And I had to get used to that, because there was a time when I felt like this would be kind of superficial, that I was looking for happiness and I was looking for a fulfilled life or something like that, because I was taught that you have to work hard in order to be successful. So this is how my mind worked. And I really had to learn, or was allowed to learn, that it may be fun as well, and it's way easier when it is fun, and when you try to make things come easy and yeah, just according to your personality. So I would say it's definitely one of my strengths is seeing the fun part in a lot of things. So I'm always learning, and even if there's some craziness, I'll be like, isn't it funny that this happened to us? So this is a thing, and it also relaxes people who are in a stressful situation, and it helps to see maybe also the other side of difficulties, for example. And yes, and other things I just developed, which I thought I was not good at, is patience. I don't consider myself a patient person, because I'm not very patient with myself. but I'm super patient with others.
Mhm.
So that gives them the time and the space to grow and to talk. And this is what really helps well in the leadership trainings as well.
Mhm. And okay, so for example, how do you find it, and why it's important to find that superpower that you know right now that humor is a superpower for you? Why it's important for you to find in order to be a leader?
I think in order to be a leader, one of the most important things is to be authentic.
Mm.
Because when you are in your authentic self, a lot of things come, you attract them.
Mm-hmm.
You attract things that give you energy. You attract people that are attracted by that energy,
Mm-hmm.
and you surround yourself with those people. And it also means that if you find what I call at the moment my authentic self, it also means that I can acknowledge and appreciate the difference to others.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm okay with myself, I can appreciate that you are totally different. And it's a great thing. So we can learn from each other. And this is why I foster this understanding in teams, especially. So we don't always have the same superpowers. And that's the good news.
Mm-hmm.
If you only have a team, like just imagine a team only of structured people, very data-driven people, and you have it sometimes in the companies that a leader looks like for people that are like them, right? So I can understand how you think, and I want you in my team because you're a good person, because you always consider yourself being a good person, right? And it's also sometimes easier to having people who would always agree with you. You don't have to discuss and stuff. So, but this is very one-sided, and those teams will only come to one kind of results. So they will always create the same results. But in order to be excellent, you have to acknowledge the superpowers of a lot of people, and you have to use them and give them the chance to use them as well. This is why I like the superpower part. Just give them a chance to show them, and they will be motivated and driven, and you don't have to force them. You don't have to push them. They are not externally motivated, but because they can show themselves and they can thrive to that. So this is why I really like to use that.
Finding your superpower means you're finding your authenticity, let's say.
Yeah,
and
could be.
Okay. And maybe there's like a technique, like a short technique we can try to use, not daily, but once in time. Maybe you can recommend something, because I think it's really hard to understand what is authentic, even like for me. I don't know, because we are surrounded by so many different people every day, and different environments and their beliefs and their opinions, and we don't know what is ours and what is theirs actually. So how to understand like that, well, humor is not my colleague's superpower, but it's mine actually.
True. Yeah, that's a very good point. I think it depends on how reflected you are. But what very much helped me is talking to others. So what do you see in me? Because sometimes you're just caught in your own echo chamber. You see the things that you see because those are the only things that you can see. So you need new input, you need new perspectives. What helped a lot is traveling and meeting a lot of people. But what also really, what I really much appreciate is asking people, what do you think I'm good at? And usually people are way kinder with you than you could be with yourself. And they see strengths in the things that are very normal for you. And this is, again, the challenge with the powers or the strengths, or how you call it, right? Is that you sometimes are not aware of that because it comes so natural to you. If you are a kind and helping person, it's so natural. You will do it. It's your natural behavior. And for others, it's becoming obvious because it's not theirs. And so talking to others, so I give you a situation. So we call it, there's an intervention that is called a strength talk. So you're just choose 3 people. They don't have to know you even. It can be your colleagues, it can be strangers, and just tell them a story about yourself, where you maybe were challenged and you overcame that challenge, or something that is a story out of your life. It has to be a personal one and something that is describing something about you. And then you can write down what you think you used, what kind of strengths you used in this situation. and they can write down what they heard that you used. And there will be a variety of things they might see in those experiences that you have that you were not aware of before that. So use the view of others, because it's not, you cannot see everything of yourself by looking into the mirror. Sometimes you need people to help you in that. And it's a wonderful feeling getting those feedbacks and those strengths back. That is really a nice and easy thing. And it's eye-opening, I can tell.
Yes, I totally agree. I'm just thinking about introverts, people that are, probably afraid to ask opinions in general, or have a conversation with a stranger. And then you go to your family, and family is not always, well, they will always probably tell you something good about you. And
if you're lucky, they will.
If you're lucky, yeah, it depends. Actually, depends on the family, of course. But yeah, if you're very closed-minded and very introvert, but you need to find your superpower. How do you do it? Maybe I don't know.
But I do get it. It seems like it's easier for extroverts. But, I think that the challenge is coming maybe later for extroverts, because they have to implement it. So it's just to know it is maybe not helping, because they are very, very much standing. But I think if you're introvert, or maybe even just scared to ask, this is again leaving your comfort zone in order to grow. So trust the process. You will come out very much stronger. And if you need to build a let's say, trusting relationship before that, just ask friends. Just ask maybe colleagues, just people you trust, that they will not use this knowledge maybe to hurt you, or that will just be positive towards you. And if you set the frame of, we're talking about strengths, then you would be surprised how kind people are and how much they are willing to give. And this is actually a gift, because they give you a new perspective. And so I think this could be the treasure behind the dragon, that should send you on your quest and make you dare to ask and show yourself. Because again, being authentic also means that you have to look closer to the things that you might not like about yourself, and love them as well. Because nobody's perfect. There's so many traits that we have. There is so many packages that we're carrying with us. And as you said, is it even my opinion, or did I inherit it? Is it a cultural thing? Is it a family thing? There's so many things that shape our thoughts and behaviors. And we just have to accept all of this, because we're whole persons. And that is what authentic means. I'm okay with the darker side of me. I'm okay with the shiny side that I want to show to everyone. And all belongs to me, and all is worth to be loved just because I am. Not because I'm good at my job. Not because I'm like a overachiever or something like that, but because you are. And this is when it starts. If you're okay with yourself and you love yourself and being self-compassionate, then it's way easier also to dare to show yourself and talk to others.
Yeah, first love yourself. That's correct.
Yeah.
And the other thing is knowing your dark side, as you said. And that leads me to a question about negative and positive. And you're talking about positive leadership. So maybe you can talk about leadership in general. What is leadership for you, and how do you find it negative and positive?
All this, it's when talking about, maybe I'm starting with the positive part, because it's not about negative and positive, but it comes from the term of positive psychology. That is actually the school I'm working with. So positive psychology is actually the psychology of happiness. So whilst the psychology in the former years has been focusing on, let's say, the negative side from a normal mental being, like a normal human being, right? So I am having depression, I'm having anxiety, I'm having, I don't know what kind of mental diseases. This is the negative side, so the minus side, let's say. And no school has been working on, but how can we thrive? Just because you are not sick, or your leg is not broken, right? So the negative doesn't mean you're going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro tomorrow. So there's still a way to go, right? This is what positive psychology is working on. And this is why there's no negative leadership, I would say. But being a positive leader means I'm creating a surrounding for myself and for others that is trustful, that is letting them show their strengths, building meaningful relationships, building also finding meaning in what I'm doing, having positive emotions, and in the end also that we can achieve something together and make those achievements visible. That is what it's about. And this is a concept where there are a lot of interventions, where there are a lot of ways that how you can ensure that people find meaning in what they do, how they can create positive emotions with what they do. And again, our brain is actually a great chemistry factory. So it can create all the mean stuff, right? So stress, we're good at that. Because we in the past we had to fight the bears and everything, but there are no bears nowadays. So you don't have to fight a bear, and still are hopefully again, when you're lucky, you don't have to fight a bear. You never know. And your body is still able to do that. Your brain is still able to create those chemistry. So your body will be ready for that. But there's no dragons, there's no real dragons or bears or something, but you create all the chemicals for that. And that's the part where our body gets sick by stress, where it really literally becomes sick, where you get the high blood pressure or some other diseases. There's a lot of diseases that are related to stress. And the good news is that we are also having the ability to create those positive cocktails, right? So endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin, the cool stuff, the drugs that you have in your brain, right? The positive ones. And this is what I'm aiming for, that leaders are able to create it for themselves, because again, sometimes you're lonely as a leader. So you have to find the positivity for yourself. There will be nobody who will be motivating you. It's up to you. And on the other hand, to create a surrounding where everybody can grow and flourish. And this is why it's so important for me to have this positive leadership. And it's not always, again, to the leadership question, it doesn't have to be a manager, because everybody is a leader in their own life. And if you want to be a leader out of your team, then you will be a leader and you will support your team members. And that's also leadership. And sometimes, and that's the tricky part, it's also brave leadership if you just follow your leader. And by giving a good example and being like, I don't have a better idea than you, so let's go for it. So just putting your ego away and following your leader can also be a great example of leadership, as paradox as it seems.
Wow. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. It's not a popular opinion, I would say. And I agree.
Because we're not honored for that. You don't get a medal for being a brave follower.
No.
We're not practicing that enough. But this is actually what thrives a whole team, a company, that we can align on this one direction and everybody goes in the same direction. And this also needs brave followers.
I think as long as you're honest and you try to understand how you feel, what you feel and what you want, and you share that, then you can definitely agree with the leader and follow him, as long as the leader knows what you want and what is your dream and goal. So if it's the same goal, why not to follow that leader? Okay. It's important to know, is it a superpower? Like, is it that something we need to find as a superpower, the confidence and the believing in yourself, or it's not a superpower, it's just something else?
I think confidence is the consequence of using your superpowers. So confidence itself is just a result. If confidence would be a superpower, it's a bit empty, right? So just being self-aware and just being in love with yourself and nobody else is not enough, right? So this is why I think confidence will follow when you are in your energy, when you can be successful with who you are and you can agree upon with who you are and you can use it. So I think it's like with money, right? So we're not working for it. Like when you're doing a company, of course, you also want to earn money. But you will have money anyways. You will have the success anyways if you just doing a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing the right product, if you're doing it with the right intention, the right vision behind it, having a great team, money will be the reason, will be the result of it, not the cause, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is why I think confidence will come with all the beautiful experiences that you will have when you are in your energy.
Mm-hmm. But you need to have that little push, that voice in yourself to go from that comfort zone in order to have a battle and to find a superpower. So how to have that voice, let yourself to have that voice and to believe in that voice. I think that's like the first part, and I believe for everyone can be different ways to find it, but maybe you see some sort of how do you call it, well, just from your practice, maybe you saw some examples.
Again, it's sometimes you cannot solve things for yourself, and sometimes we don't believe in ourselves because we're not taught to do it, we're not experienced to do it, or maybe we also fail big time. Right? So these are the moments when you're like, oh god, I'm not worth it all. So and what I think what life, and also of course JCI brings to us, is what I mentioned in the beginning with the wizards. So people who have been in your shoes but earlier, people who have been in the very same situation, and looking for mentors in your life and asking for help is something incredibly strong. And it also allows you to be vulnerable. So this is nothing that I would call a weakness, because this is when you start to acknowledge that you have to learn, right? So, and there will be people who can help you, and also having positive self-talks. Just observe yourself. What is the voice that you have in your head? So how are you talking with yourself? And thinking about the chemistry factory in your brain, on what kind of mode do you have it? So what kind of buttons do you push by talking to yourself like that? How you do it? And you can also talking to yourself nicely. For example, what negative self-talk does to us is, I don't know, just imagine you have messed up some kind of project at work. And how will you feel?
Yeah, I would be disappointed, and I would feel that I failed, probably. Well, I think that's what.
And maybe you will even go that far and tell yourself, oh my god, I messed it up, oh my god, I'm like having those talks, you're so stupid, whatever we tell ourselves. And now imagine your best friend would tell you the same. I messed up part of a project. Would you tell them that they're stupid and
No,
that they will never succeed
not.
in life? Right?
For sure not. They already feel bad. You don't want to make them feel even worse. And of course, you try to see positive in others. Usually, you try to see the positive, and you forget to see the positive parts in yourself most of the time.
And that is exactly the concept of self-compassion. Self-compassion is about being your own best friend. When your brain is already in the, oh my god, there's a bear mode, please don't tell them, yes, there is, because there's not. So take care for yourself, be your own best friend, talk to yourself, treat yourself with self-kindness, have a good self-talk, being like, it is okay, I feel you, it was really a shitty day, tomorrow will be another one. So talk to yourself like you would talk to a friend. Be also aware of what kind of feelings do you have, so don't push them away. The glass of wine, maybe leave it away for later, so when you feel better, right? So sometimes we tend to push away our negative feelings. And so being aware, being mindful with your body, how do you react to stress? That's the second thing about self-compassion, I would say. And the third thing is, you are never alone. Everybody makes mistakes. You're not isolated in your misery bubble, but there's a lot of things going on in the world, and this is how we learn. And so this is a very, very strong mindfulness experience, and also a thing that you can practice. Positive self-talk. You're not alone. Just be kind to yourself, and that works a lot because you're getting used to it. Our brain gets used to kindness as well as it can get used to miserable behavior towards ourselves. So you always can decide what you produce in your factory.
Great. I love it. I love that we are ending in this positive note. And we talked before, we said, how are we going to end? Are we going to end in a negative or in a positive note? Well, we did end it in a positive one. And to round up this podcast, we want to introduce a tradition for our podcast. Is to ask a question from this talking cards.
Ah, cool.
Yes, and we don't know what type of question you will have. Well, let's see. Okay,
it's so a famous first time then.
Yes, yes.
Cool.
Yes,
cool,
it's a famous first time. Welcome our newbie. Here you go.
So, okay. It's a Lithuanian, is it?
It's a Lithuanian. It's okay, but I will translate it. And okay. Okay, that's a nice one.
Oh, I'm lucky again.
we said we want to finish in a positive note. So it's saying, tell about your dreams that come true already.
Oh. I can tell something very, very personal. So a few months ago, I had a bit of a tough time. So I was pretty exhausted from traveling, and I was waiting for some responses. So I became again impatient, and a friend of mine gave me the advice: just imagine you being 13. What would that 13-year-old girl think if she looked at you right now and what you have achieved? And I was like, oh, I cannot even imagine. She would be so proud. she would say, oh my God, you're traveling the world. You have the job of your dreams. You have a great partner. You have great friends. You have this amazing life. I could never dream of that. I would not be able to picture the person I am right now, the life I am living right now, and the opportunities I have right now, the amazing people I'm allowed to get to know. And so my 13-year-old inner me was very proud of me, and that enlightened me like in no time. So that was a very, very nice thing to reflect upon. And I think, this is the life everybody asks for sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't feel like that. But I'm very happy at the position, at the place in life I am right now. So yeah.
Do you say that the key is loving yourself and appreciating what you have? And because what you just said, you just appreciate your life and everything what happened. True. And your life is your dream. And
True. It's exactly that. So love and gratitude, I would say, are core concepts for me. So love what you do, love who you are, love the people you're talking with, and they will know. And so do things with love or don't do them at all. So maybe like that. And be grateful for everything that life gives you. So sometimes it's hard, but if the day was not your friend, it was your teacher. So this is why gratitude is also a very, very strong concept for me, and that helped me a lot.
Okay. Well, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
being our first person in this podcast, and thank you as well for all the experience I had with you in these couple of days, because you were visiting us in Vilnius and giving a very nice training, and I'm looking to other trainings you are prepared for us. And so maybe we will see each other in the other session of this podcast.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. It was so much fun. So thank you so much. It was a really, really nice experience. Thank you.
You're welcome.